Greetings, friends, and welcome to Shouting at Dice, the Dragon Heist. My name is Matt German, and I'll be your Dungeon Master for this session. Playing with me, as always, are Penny German as Kara Stonesmith, a dwarf fighter who is quite smitten, but doesn't quite know it yet. Jordan Dietz is Elara, an ASMR cleric who still resents the bullies of her past. Chris Sturdy is Ekizi, a Minotaur druid who totally has a fidget cube. And Peyton Cogner as Azerath, a dragonborn paladin who is just the best socialite. As I briefly mentioned before, Kara is actually the mother of Cathra, a character Penny plays in a different campaign. Before I started running this, she had already planned on playing Cathra's mother, and things just sort of fell into place after that. So it kind of created an interesting look into Kara's story, and we kind of decided that we should explore things like Kara meeting her future husband and the like. So that's where a lot of the humor surrounding her comes from in future episodes. But just a little bit of background information for y'all. Also, I started my own Patreon. You can find me there under the Best Disguise. So far, I'm really only using it as a tip jar, but I'd sure appreciate it if you could check it out. And as always, you can also follow us at the Best Disguise, at the Pennykins, at Dream Deets, at the Library Chris, and at Peyton Cogner. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the show. Last time, you guys finally got enough money to open up the tavern. Through some various means, it was the quest turn-in session. Kara went back to Zelefarn and retrieved a sunken chest that had a decent amount of gold, silver in it, as well as an amulet that was worth quite a bit of gold, and claims to a safety deposit box in Waterdeep that had a king's ransom in gold. Additionally, you met with Istrid Horn, a Zentarum agent looking for safe refuge during the investigations into the Gralhund Villa bloodbath. You guys took her up on her offer for quite a bit of money in order to just let her hide out at the tavern for a 10-day. You guys continued to patrol the graveyard, still not finding anything, but we did get a little bit of insight into Ekizi's backstory and her tragic past. And then finally, Elara and Azerath, in pursuit of a small quest that Azerath was given to learn what the publication, the newspaper, knew about the Black Viper. You guys paid a visit to the Castellanter's estate and spoke to Amalia Castellanter with what some would consider a varying degree of of misfortune. You learned that she does not, in fact, have a twin sister at all.
Disabled twin sister.
Let alone one who's disfigured. But more importantly, she learned a considerable amount of information off of you two after you both were charmed by her, before being evicted from the estate by her husband, Victoro, who was very displeased to see you there. You guys left feeling pretty good until the spell wore off, and then realized that it's a good thing that she does not want you guys dead for any reason, because, like, she could ruin you right now very easily.
And then Ekizi got punched.
Yeah.
I'm Azerath!
So...
You were just in the way.
We were joking about that at work.
I've never stopped thinking about it.
And that is where we left off.
I fucked up the names, okay?
Oh, and of course, Kara spent her afternoon after Zelefarn visiting the various guilds, buying licenses and making deals, and just a bureaucratic nightmare of a day, in which she finally was able to get everything you guys need to get in order to get your tavern up and running. So that should be happening within the next few days or so.
Yay.
You had your first employee inquire or your first prospective employee inquire Clint Bulderna, who, if most of us outside the game know, is Kara's future husband. Azerath. Tell me a little bit about, or I guess Peyton, tell me a little bit about Azerath's home life before his quest began. Tell me a little bit about what just living in his clan was like.
So they were a highly religious clan. They basically just traveled. It was basically their ultimate goal to live in peace. Azerath was a hunter for the clan and also a warrior. Day-to-day life for him basically looked like hunting, prepping, just keeping a lookout.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start that evening after Kara met Clint. And for the sake of the narrative, I'm going to say that Clint was hired because he was not only the most qualified candidate inquiring to be basically the cook slash brewer here. Mostly the cook, because I imagine Karo had something to say about being the brewer. But he's the only one. He was the most qualified candidate inquiring about a cook. He was also the only candidate inquiring to be a cook. So we're going to start up that evening. You guys are preparing to go for your next
walkabout.
I believe it's your 6th day out at the City of the Dead. And we are going to start with, we see Azerath in his room preparing, and if you imagine, if you will, the camera is focused in on his face, and we see the face of a battle-worn and tired Dragonborn who's probably looks a little older than he actually is, just from the battles he's seen. We see, does Azerath have any like facial scars or anything?
Yeah.
Or battle damage on his.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's missing some scales, like on his cheek, and he has a large like gash, kind of like down, not like over his eye, but like
on his
over,
forehead.
like on top of it.
On his brow.
Yeah.
Sure.
But just like scarred scales.
Yeah, nothing. No, I imagine nothing too disfiguring or noticeable. Just enough that you can tell this man has been in battle, has definitely seen his fair share. So yeah, so we see that with his some missing scales and subtle scar on his brow, and we see the sort of baggy scales under his eyes, and his gray piercing eyes that have a kind of a harrowness to them. When those who look into them, they can kind of just tell this. He's been through some stuff. And in an instant, instead of this grizzled version of Azerath, we see a very, very young Azerath in his adolescence. Perhaps 13 years old. Clean-faced, his eyes no longer have that darkness to them. Very clean, very full of wonder and excitement. But in this moment, he's looking a little sheepish, and as it pans out, we see his mother standing before him and scolding him, holding something in her hand. She's got an amulet in her hand, and the amulet is gorgeous. It's pure gold, and it looks like a dragon's fist clutching a ruby, and it kind of glows with a little bit of an arcane fire. And she's scolding him, you never take this from me. This is very, very important to Azerath. You know, Azerath has clearly just been caught either trying to sneak this thing out or doing something that he shouldn't have been doing with it. But she's scolding him. This is very precious. It's one of a kind. There's no other like it in the world, and it's very dear to me. You must never, ever take this without permission ever again, Azerath, and just scolding him. And then we kind of blink back into the present, and we see Azerath finishing suiting up and getting ready for your guys' trip to the City of the Dead. So that's where we're going to pick up.
Well, I was gonna, because we have all that money and I paid for all the guild stuff and the signing and the madness of all that, Kara was gonna go, and now that she's probably kind of starting to familiarize herself, I mean, not much, but familiarize herself with the guilds and maybe some of the people that to talk to, she's gonna go and see if she can start talking to people about furniture and commissioning some art and things like that, and just getting an idea, maybe giving them an idea, and maybe put like a little bit of a down payment on like some art that we could put up in there to kind of like.
Okay. Let's. All right. So you guys set out to the City of the Dead this evening?
Yes.
All right. So you arrive. It is a particularly heavy downfall of rain tonight. It's pretty cold. You guys probably had to bundle up with a few extra like raincoats and a little bit more warmer clothing tonight.
I
wearing
brought
a poncho.
I brought a bottle to share it with everybody to help keep their bellies warm.
All right, and you greet Sir Ambrose, who seems to be unshaken, and he says, "Good luck tonight," and then he storms off into the evening, pun not intended. So, how are you guys doing this evening? This is the seventh night, so you only have a few nights remaining.
I'm gonna turn into a wolf.
All right, who has to party with the wolf now? No, she's like, I'm gonna ride him. Starts wrestling.
I'm not that big.
Carry me, Ekizi.
We all know how much Elara loves wolves.
All right, so Elara and Ekizi and Azerath and Kara again.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with Kara and Azerath.
Kind of just.
I imagine that you guys, that everybody knows the events at the Castellander's Villa at this point.
I'm just like, she's just casually walking with her, kind of just like resting her axe on her shoulder, and she has the bottle like in her hand, but with her shield, so it looks like she's just like.
So it doesn't look so obvious that
Yeah.
she's drinking on the job.
I mean, that's not really the point. She just doesn't want to take her shield off to drink.
Okay. How many times does she smack herself in the forehead with her shield?
Oh no, she's like.
Every time you drink,
Yeah,
though,
she'll
just-
turn her head to the side and like fills up her cheek, and then she drinks.
just like gotta stay warm.
Then she tries to see if Azerath wants any.
I think Azerath reminds that I feel like he's just kind of mostly judging her while silently foreboding the events of this morning.
I mean, she's like
Well, the Castellander's Villa would have been the previous day.
Well, she's not actually like straight up drinking to get drunk. She's just like trying to stay warm. So you don't see her just like, you know, put them away.
Well, I
it's like
imagine
the
that
one
takes
bottle.
quite a
It's like
bit to-
sips and
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Yeah, just like awkward sips. And or she does that one time. It's like runs into like a mausoleum. Like, oh, damn.
Kara, you're a mess.
Yeah, she's like not actually rosy cheeked yet.
Kara, you beautiful disaster.
Yeah.
You went from an
Then she
elegant.
just starts smelling of alcohol. Just like it's wafting off her because she spilled it all
You
over.
went from an elegant drunk to a sloppy drunk.
Yeah, she's not even drunk right now. That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's how you two are.
That's how that mess is
Yeah.
proceeding.
Like, all right, roll it. Disadvantage to drink because you have your shield still attached.
Disadvantage to drink.
I'm sure it's a thing somewhere.
Ekizi and Elara, you guys are traveling at first in wolf form and normal form, and then after an hour in Minotaur. And so, what does anything change from tonight? How are you guys after the hour?
Lara's just bored, so she's playing with the whistle that Kara gave her.
She starts playing the whistle song.
Yeah, it's very light, so that she's like, I know I can't attract any attention, but I'm bored as fuck. So she's just with the whistle, like,
Blow that whistle, baby.
because she knows if she blows the whistle, Kara's gonna come running.
Yeah.
So she's like, I gotta do
You made me spill.
Like kind of like holding it away and blowing
Yeah.
it into it to see how loud she can get it.
Yeah.
That actually,
Oh, God.
yeah.
it without like alerting anybody.
Unfortunately, the downpour is heavy enough where it's kind of muting a little bit of the sound.
Oh,
So,
okay, cool.
I would like you both to roll perception.
And let me actually
13.
unpack my dice here. 17.
All right.
I rolled a number.
So, Laura is far too distracted by this Ekizi, though, you're walking and you see something for the first time tonight that you've not seen any of the previous nights. You see lantern light in the darkness.
Is it like moving?
Yes.
Or
it's
that's
very slowly moving.
I'm gonna point that out to Elara.
And they're supposed to be closed, right? Or can anybody come here still?
No, nobody's supposed to be really here.
Okay.
Should we go check it out?
Probably.
Okay. We go check it out.
And as soon as you guys are speaking, and you're pointing it out, you see it kind of fade away. Not like it's being snuffed, but kind of like probably went behind a mausoleum or something, or just dipped behind a hill or something. So
I'm gonna re-wolf myself.
okay.
I roll for stealth.
I'll roll for wolf stealth.
9.
Does the wolf have stealth? Have stealth.
Elara tried.
Wolf should have stealth.
A wolf should have stealth. I agree. Oh no, he does. Never mind.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's just I was thinking these skills were in alphabetical order under wolf, and they're not.
Laura, you said you got a 9?
I tried.
Ooh, 20.
20. Alright, you guys kind of sneak through this winding, I assume not staying on the path, but winding through in between the different monuments and crypts, and you kind of crest a hill, and you do not see the lantern light anymore, but you do see half a dozen figures in the darkness, just kind of shuffling towards the edge of the graveyard.
Oh, I don't like shuffling. Shuffling.
Probably just teenagers.
Just some goth kids.
Yeah, some goth high schoolers.
Some goth Water Davian kids.
They're from WDH.
Yeah.
Parents just don't get me, guys.
From whatever the local wizarding academy is. Bunch of goth wizard kids hanging out in this fucking graveyard.
I've been thinking about necromancy as my school of choice.
Oh, we all study necromancy. It's like so mainstream anymore. I'm gonna study conjuration and summon a demon. He's gonna be my real dad.
Chris is the ultimate goth. Yes.
Well, Matt,
I've had a lot of depression to bring up in the past. I'm running off experience.
No, just get it out. Just get it out now. Just make like all these goth kids for Matt.
He doesn't have to do it later.
Anyway, what's happening?
Little do you know, I'm furiously writing down notes. This is gold.
He's like, okay, roll for name.
I'm just ripping off fantasy highs.
Just like, my name isn't Maria anymore.
Alright, so that's what you see.
I'm going to approach slowly and stealthily.
They do not see you.
Oh, good for me.
They do not react.
Uh-oh.
How close are you getting to?
I'm gonna get as close as I until I see what they are.
Okay. Yeah. You have to get pretty close. The downpour is making it very, very difficult to see.
Great.
But fortunately, in your wolf form, you're able to kind of mitigate that a little bit. Elara, are you going with her, or are you kind of hanging back?
I'll go with her.
Okay. Elara, I want you to go ahead and make another stealth check.
Oh, good.
Ekizi, you got a nat 20 earlier?
No, just
Okay,
regular 20.
20.
Yeah. Should I roll again?
Yeah, let's go ahead and have you roll again.
10.
Fuck up.
I got one better.
22.
Hey, better's better. Okay, so yeah, you both approach. Ekizi, you are very aware that Elara is following you, but you're pretty confident that she's being quiet.
I look back and I hold up a paw and go, ooh.
Elara, this is very unsettling.
I picture that she has the whistle around her neck, so she has it in her mouth, and so when she does that, she's drops it.
All right. So you approach and get within about 30 feet of these figures, and they still have not noticed you. But as you get that close, you notice they are wearing rags, tattered rags, and that's it. Not even skin. They are skeletons.
Oh, beans! Sometimes they get up and you have to fight them.
Yep, these are some of those. These are some of those types of skeletons.
Okay.
These skeletons have got up, and you might have to fight them.
Okay.
And there's half of a dozen of them, and nothing else around, but they are all kind of meandering off towards the edge of the city of the dead in almost a single file line.
Oh, these fucking skeletons are milling about.
They look very much like they have a destination in mind.
Aru? Aru?
Like, we need to follow them, but we also need to tell Kara and Azerath. But I'm not blowing that fucking whistle.
I want you to make another stone check.
Oh, jeez, Lisa.
Not Ekizi, just Elara.
So I'm only gonna roll higher.
Ah, yes. Okay, 20.
Meanwhile, Kara's just like balancing her axe on her hand.
On her paw. She's a wolf right now.
No, Kara.
Oh, Kara. I thought you said Elara.
No, Kara.
Alara's not a wolf either.
Yeah. It's okay.
Good night, everybody. I think we're done keeping tonight.
Someone smacks Ekizi.
We gotta call it. Our DM has a concussion.
Is there like protocol for when your DM has a stroke?
Because you're in wolf form, so
I am.
you'd be faster than I would
would.
be. So maybe you should go get
Okay.
Kara
Yeah, I'm going to
and Azerath.
sniff out.
Alright.
I'm gonna follow the smell of booze.
Make an investigation check at advantage.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew being an alcoholic was making something.
22.
You
I'm rolling amazing tonight.
Yeah, you slink away. Kara and Azerath, go ahead and roll perception checks for me.
12.
Kara, you see a wolf approaching in the darkness, in the haze.
I nudge Azerath. I'm like,
So, Ekizi, yeah, you show up and you find these two.
Okay, I like stop in front of them and turn around in circles, and then like start to walk off.
okay. Alright.
Elara,
Yeah.
Elara, are you still attempting to keep up with the skeletons then?
Yes.
Give me another stealth check.
Shit. They're gonna find me. God, 5.
Okay. So, shortly after
4. It's worse.
Shortly after Ekizi leaves, you're kind of following after these. Like, you're passing underneath a tree and trying to be very, very quiet. And all of a sudden, almost cliche, you hear the telltale snap of a twig underneath your boot. And
See, I was thinking like she was so intent on being stealthy and following them, she just conked right into the tree.
but as soon as that happens, all 6 of them spin around and then like raise up short swords and hiss at you.
Oh man, not only are they skeletons, they're armed skeletons.
Do you have turn undead?
I say a prayer. Call to my deity.
Alright, well go ahead and give me an initiative roll. In fact, everybody go ahead and give me an initiative.
Oh, why? I'm gonna suck at it. Oh, never mind. 20.
Alright, Kara, what'd you get?
13.
Easy.
21. I'm just rolling.
Azerath?
10.
It is going to take the rest of you 2 rounds to get there.
Oh,
So,
God,
That
no.
sucks.
I'm dead.
alright,
Cleric's
so
gonna die.
If you get super in trouble, just hoot so we can run like full
I am
out.
whistling like no one's business.
Elara, you actually get to act first.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay. So I'm gonna I'm gonna channel divinity and turn undead.
Okay. So how does that work? Read it to me.
As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring the undead. Each undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. A turned creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away from you as it can, and it can't willingly move to a space within 30 feet of you.
So, what is the DC?
13.
Are these skeletons wisdom rich?
Alright, the first one succeeded.
Yes, apparently they are.
The second one succeeded.
God damn.
The third one succeeded.
Oh,
The fourth one did not.
1.
The fifth one did not. And the sixth one did not. So,
So half of them are gonna
half
get
of them
me.
book it.
Alright, so the 3 skeletons that succeeded are going to rush at you and attack. The other 3 are going to immediately spin around and bolt in different directions.
Okay, at least I get 3. That's
So 2 of them run up and stab you with the short swords. The other one tries to stab at you with the short sword, but like the water made him real slick, and the short sword kind of just sails out of his hand. He just kind of flings it. It sticks into the tree next to you.
What is he fling? What type of sword is it, Matt?
Short sword.
Okay.
You were trying to make me say it again.
I was.
Son of a bitch. You
It was
son
really
of a
funny.
bitch.
oh god. So you're gonna come
I
back
had
and your
faith you
cleric's
could do
gonna be dead.
You had no faith. Don't lie. 13 damage from the 2 stabbings.
Oh man, we're just gonna find an Elara puddle when we get there.
Mhm.
Round 1 is passed, so round 2, you guys. The next round, you guys will arrive. Elara,
Right.
your turn.
Okay.
You've got 2 skeletons. All 3 of them are standing around you in kind of a half circle. 2 of them are just stabbed you with swords, and then the third one threw the sword into the tree next to you.
I'm gonna do Sacred Flame on
Okay.
one of the ones with sword still.
He failed.
Yeah! Takes 2 damage.
The 3 skeletons that failed their checks are all now, like, you can no longer see them. But the 2 that have their swords are going to again attack you. 14. Does 14 hit?
No.
Alright, so one of them hits you. So it takes 6 damage. So they're both swing their swords down at you again. You're able to kind of parry one with your shield, but the other one gets through. And then the third skeleton wrests the sword from the tree. Ekizi, you crest to the hill,
Ooh.
and you see Elara standing at the base of a tree, engaged with 3 skeletons.
Okay.
You were about 60 feet away.
Then I'm gonna take my dash action down there.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, you get down there. Elara, you see a wolf approach from the darkness behind you.
Yay!
Oh shit, it's not me, it's not me!
oh god.
He's just here for the bones!
I am going to my mace.
Alrighty.
The Nat 20.
Oh,
Rock on.
damn.
Double them damage dice.
7.
Yeah, you crack him in the ribs, and you see chunks of bone fly off. He's now kind of like standing at an angle, like his entire upper body is now disjointed.
Skeletons are fun to use in fights because they can just fall apart.
All 3 of them are going to take cracks at you again.
Oh god.
Aye.
I'm dead.
So one of them hits you. The one who wrests his sword from the tree decides that tree needs to die and dies again at the tree. I can't believe that shit.
Yeah, fuck this particular tree!
And it is the same one too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe that. The one that that you have not been hitting though, he's hitting you for 4 damage.
Probably good at
All right, Kara, you and Azerath are. I'm gonna have you both act at the same time right now because there's not a whole lot else you can do. But you both get to the crest of the hill, and you see Ekizi running down and Elara standing at the base of a tree fighting off 3 skeletons.
Can I full run up there?
Yeah,
Nice.
you're 60 feet away, so you can get close.
So that'll get me 50 feet. Yeah, I run 50
All right,
feet.
Azerath, what are you doing?
I'm gonna run 50 feet.
Well, you, I believe, can run 60 feet because your speed is 30, right? So you get up to 60 feet. So you run up to where Kara or Elara and Ekizi are. So you kind of actually pass Kara on the run. So
Laura's like, I'll be there in a minute, guys.
okay. So Ekizi, you get to go.
Cool. Okay, so I am a wolf, and I'm going to be using my bite attack on one of the skeletons that she hasn't attacked.
Okay. There's one that keeps throwing the sword into the tree, and the one that keeps hitting her.
I'm going to hit the competent one.
I was going to say, I assume you're probably hitting the one that keeps
Okay.
smacking her.
And since Elara is within 5 feet of it, I get advantage on the attack because of pack tactics.
Okay.
And she is part of my pack now that I am a wolf.
yeah.
15.
15 is a hit.
Yay for stupid skeletons and their low AC. He has to succeed on a DC 11 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
He succeeded.
Well, fine. He can take 9 piercing damage then.
All right then.
Or probably less, because he's a skeleton.
No, he takes 11.
Really?
Yep. So you run up and you grab a hold of like you leap up, and he quickly throws up his arm to try to block you, and you grab a hold of his arm and fully pull it off of his body. So you've just got a freaking like an arm bone entirely in your mouth. So, Elara.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds. 15. And then that's it, because that's my action.
So the Skeleboys are going... One of them is going to attack Elara, the one that's got the cracked ribs. And fails. One is going to attack Ekizi, the one whose whose arm she is currently gnawing on. It was his off arm, so that's a 20 to hit. I imagine that hits.
No.
7 damage.
Ouch.
And then the third one wrests the sword from the tree.
I am no longer a wolf.
Alright, so yeah, you guys, so you see this sword, or this, the skeleton, like, slash down at the wolf with the sword. You hear the wolf cry out, you know, that yelp. And then all of a sudden,
stands up.
And then all of a sudden, it's Ekizi with a big bone in her mouth. His arm in her mouth. Alright, Kara, you are 10 feet away.
Alright. In that 10 feet, I'm going to bonus action. I'm going to switch to two-hand. And
So you're putting your shield away?
yeah, I'm just like a normal attack two-handed
Okay.
with my battle axe. 4.
24 to hit?
24.
That surprisingly is a hit.
11 damage to the guy attacking her.
Yeah, finish him.
So Kara just like that last 10 feet is like running. She like throws her shield on her back, goes to two-hand, kind of does like a slide in the wet like mud and
wet
grass, and just like does like a sort of like a follow through bunt, I guess.
Sure.
And just goes right through the skeleton, and then she's going to action shoot. She's going to hit another skeleton.
Which skeleton? The one whose arm is currently missing and is in Ekizi's mouth, or the one sword tree guy?
Sword tree guy.
Okay.
And I'm going to goading attack him. 16?
That is a hit. Roll your damage.
7, 11 damage.
11? Alright. And then he has to make a...
DC 14 wisdom save.
He failed, so now he needs to attack you and nobody else otherwise
Yeah,
gets
or else he gets
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
Alrighty. And then is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Alright, so Elara, you're fighting off the skeleton and this other skeleton who's not really fighting you, but more fighting the tree. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kara kind of like baseball slides in and just takes him, cuts him in half. Just, you get the bones everywhere. You hear like the bowling pin noise, like, like everywhere. And then she gets up and then just smacks this other one in the back. And like, how does a goading strike sound? Like, how does that work? Do you yell at him or something, or? I imagine you're taunting him in some way.
Fuck you, skeleton!
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
fuck you, skeleton!
And then it turns to Kara with kind of an insulted anger.
Fuck you!
Yeah,
No,
fuck you!
Just
Fuck
like-
you,
Fuck
man!
me! Fuck you!
All right,
Fuck your
Azerath,
skeleton!
You are right there. So you've
Mine's got
got
a coat on, it's better! Skin coat.
Gross.
so
I
you've
mean,
got
accurate, but
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
you've got one skeleton without an arm standing before Ekizi, and then another skeleton whose back is practically snapped in half, who's facing Kara.
I'm gonna go after the one missing an arm,
Okay,
and I'm gonna attack it with my long sword. 14.
that's a hit.
8 damage.
All right, finish him.
Can't talk.
So I basically just take my long sword,
The one in my arm,
and
my mouth is just
slash up and down really quickly, basically from like rib to rib, slicing him
Turn
into
into an
3.
evil bitch.
Nice. All right, yeah, you cut through cleanly, and what was one skeleton is now 3 skeletons as they fall aside. Like his left half goes one way, his right half goes the other way, and his skull just kind of hovers in the air and just kind of looks down a little bit, looks back at you, and then falls straight down.
Oh, man.
Ekizi.
Alright.
So
yeah.
the one that you were fighting just got sliced and diced.
Oh, okay.
So there's only one left, and it is kind of not looking great, but angrily, like, having fuck you matches with Kara
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I'm gonna take the bone arm out of my mouth and clock the skeleton with it.
Alright, make it.
I've got to.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a choice.
Is that like an improvised weapon? I guess.
You just have him roll.
No, I was just curious. That's awesome.
I'm assuming I'm not
Slaps
proficient
it.
in bone arm.
I cannot assume that you are.
Okay.
There is
Well,
a
it's
feat.
Oh yeah, I know. Improvised weapon fighter. I know.
Not in this case.
That's gonna be 16.
That's a hit.
Cool.
I like that you
What's the
just-
damage on a bone arm?
We'll say 1d4 plus your strength modifier.
Nice.
It just like slaps it. Its head
7.
skull spins
That-
around.
Finish it.
Finish it with its own arm. That would be
Go
amazing.
swing.
It's not its own arm.
Its head.
Otherwise, I would say you have to stop hitting yourself. Gil.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I like bring the bone arm up like that and whack its arm off,
Okay.
and then I grab it out of the air and just go crush like that.
You slam it down into a pile of, well, bones with its own arm and the arm of its friend.
And then I throw both arms on the ground.
All right. And the other 3 left, so combat's over.
The other 3 left.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we
they-
go
they
find
both
them. They come back eventually, right?
They don't
You have no
want
idea where
none
they
of
are. They
this.
also went in 3 different directions, so that's fun.
It'll be a surprise every time we're looking.
Yeah.
It just pops up.
We'll be doing something completely different.
It'll be like fucking Final Fantasy when you're walking and then all of a sudden.
I like to think that, like, weeks later, like, you guys are tending to the bar, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
a skeleton walks in and just... Yeah, so like you're like shopping for furniture, and all of a sudden one pops up out of the woodwork.
Oh man.
Anyway, so what are you guys doing?
Hey, Ekizi.
Hmm.
This guy's boned.
They're not. I mean, they are bones at the moment, but I don't get it.
Elara keeps walking.
Kara laughs at her own stupid pun.
The rest of the night is uneventful. You guys spend the good chunk of the night, I assume, trying to track down these 3 skeletons that
Yeah.
strayed, and
Yeah.
you do not have any luck. They are gone. But at the end of the night, you meet up with Sir Ambrose again, and you actually notice he's got like a little bit of mud on his armor and such.
Uh-oh.
The rain has slowed down, but he walks up.
Failed his dexterity
How was your
check.
night?
There were skeletons.
You encountered them too.
Yes.
One of them came tearing at me in the middle of the dark. I struck it down quite handily. I trust that you had a similar encounter.
Yes.
Well done. I appreciate your help. You have not been as useless as I first anticipated.
That's good. I'm glad.
He kind of looks around and says, by my count, you have 3 more days remaining. I will see you tomorrow night. And then he marches off.
Time to go home and go nap.
Yep. You guys
Yes.
get home and go to bed. Alright. So we're gonna kind of do a...
Long rest, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, long rest
Okay.
for sure. So over the next few days, you guys, I assume, are probably going to be investing a lot of your time in getting the tavern set up. So the next couple of days, at least the days leading up to the tavern's opening, unless you guys want to hold off on it for any length of time, I kind of assumed that you were going to pretty much get that going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
so those few days, they're rough. It's hectic. I mean, you guys are up all night. You sleep as late as you can, which is not nearly as late as you would have hoped. So you do wake up still groggy and tired. I'm going to go ahead and just for the sake of brevity, and because I don't think any combats will have broken out in between, say that for stat-wise you guys got a long rest collectively, but in-game, like, no single night has been a long rest. But the next few days are very, very hectic. The tavern is very busy with different representatives from the various guilds coming in, meeting with you guys, and inspecting the place, getting things moved. You get, like, the distillery moved in, ovens, and other such. You get a lot of the works going in. Istrid, And
Oh,
Clint.
yeah, she's around.
Yeah, Istrid and Clint are still there, or excuse me, Jorn and Clint. Have you asked them for any? Well, Clint obviously is going to be helping in whatever way he can, but Istrid, are you just going to let her lounge about, or are you asking her for help?
No, keeping her just on the down low because we don't know who's part of the guild thing,
Okay.
so...
But Clint is helping in whatever ways he can.
I'm gonna brew everyone some highly caffeinated tea.
Oh, thank God. I was gonna
With
be
my
like,
herbalism
if
kit?
someone
Okay.
doesn't, I'm gonna find coffee or like a back alley wizard to just give me a boost.
I'm basically brewing everyone interventions.
So tell me, what are you doing with the tavern?
Did anyone have a different name that they wanted to try out or do? Okay.
So Kara, your idea was to name it Soldier's Company.
Yeah.
So you will say that you go to some of the nearby shops. You spend a lot of time at the Bent Nail, getting a lot of furniture and woodworking and such commissioned. It's where a lot of this gold is going to. You get some custom signs made up with the Soldier's Company. Do you guys have a logo or a symbol or anything to accompany that, or is it just bare bones? Just
I want to say it's probably like maybe a sword and an axe or a cross, a sword and a shield, or I mean, what would be probably like a sword and a shield. That's more universal, I would think, when it comes to soldiers.
Okay.
Like you would think, like doing something like that, like it's
Are you going to do anything to it other than that to identify it more as a tavern and not like a
blacksmith,
like a smith or something?
You could do like maybe like an axe, like tipped with a beer like hanging on it.
Oh yeah, like hanging off the hilt a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. I like that. That's really
pretty
good.
Good job, Peyton.
I was like, I just have the name. I can't
So like
think of
a
anything
mug,
else.
a big frothy mug that's kind of spilling a little bit,
Yeah, it's like
dangling
spilling.
off of the pommel of an axe or something.
Yeah.
Loop it on the handle or something. That's cool. That's
I
really
can
Yeah.
just picture like Kara being like,
Or it's it's like the handle is like down the sword, so I could see Kara like trying to drink or something like that. Yeah, I could see her do
All right,
that.
so you get a couple signs, commissioned with that logo on them. You get them hung up. We see Kara standing up there, trying to adjust it and get it right.
Yeah.
On a,
Let's have the
on a
shortest
ladder.
person on a ladder.
I'm just like holding her up.
Yeah, you've got her legs.
no, you know what would be funnier if she asked Clint to hold her up? These two little droids.
And then I pick up Clint.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
That would be great.
All right, Elara, what would you like to add? I want to kind of go through and have everybody give their own personal touch to this. So,
Yeah.
and we can keep going around if we want, but
A wolf?
I mean, you can have it to where,
Um,
because you've been, like, think of it from Alara's perspective, like, she's worked in a tavern, she's
Yeah.
probably worked in a couple to maybe get here, or I don't know, but, I mean, what would
I imagine that with Elara's history, especially in taverns and stuff, you're probably the one thinking, like, we need a hidden weapon under the
Yeah.
bar. So you
Yeah.
get like a
A hair
crossbow.
trigger crossbow,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like, Kara's more not thinking so, like, sneakily, she's like, we should put some out in the open.
Just have a fucking axe on the back wall, man. Just
it's like weapons hanging up.
Oh man. I could picture her like, okay, we need to have like an axe or a sword underneath the bar with the glasses.
Probably near, like, the register.
And if you want like that wolf motif, you could always have like, I get a couple like chairs with commission to have like wolf carvings on them or
Ooh,
something.
that'd be pretty
You,
cool.
like kind of like designate one corner. You know how like Texas Roadhouse has the
Willie
the Willie Nelson corner. You've got the wolf corner.
Yeah.
So-
The Wolfie Nelson corner.
You've got the Wolfie Nelson corner. There's a picture of a wolf with like a cowboy hat.
Smoking a joint.
Oh man.
So-
I can kind of
Or a
see her
painting,
like
I guess.
coming up with menus and stuff for like food or something.
Okay. Oh yeah, like a menu, custom menu.
High
Yeah.
Sure.
Like she's not gonna cook
Wolf
it.
burgers,
but...
only they're just regular. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we should have a bar.
Also, can anyone play an instrument?
Nope.
Nope.
I don't even have an instrument,
No.
so
So you guys have Clint. You're going to hire a barmaid. And I will, unless you guys want to create this barmaid, and I'm okay with that if you do, I will create the NPC during our downtime.
Okay, that's fine.
But if you guys want to create them or have any kind of creative license into them, that's fine too.
All I would request, or at least Kara requests, is that I would say they'd have to be like maybe a soldier background.
Okay.
Just
Have
to go
some
with
sort
the-
of militaristic
Well,
background.
go with the motif, and it's always good to hire a veteran.
Okay.
And they have purple hair. All I want is
Look at
purple
that.
hair.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. If you want that, that's fine.
I want purple
It's a
hair.
tiefling. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna request non-human.
Yeah.
Just because we are a bunch of non-humans, for one thing,
Yeah.
and also because non-humans tend to get overlooked for jobs.
Ekizi, what kind of personality did you want to go? We do have
The Minotaur statue.
the Minotaur
sculpture.
statue.
Yeah,
Sculpture
yeah.
is glass. And it was of a Minotaur with her hoof on a troll skull. if
Yes.
memory serves. Okay, you've got that up above the bar, but
What Ekizi's doing is less like decorating or preparing anything for the bar, kind of preparing, but making sure the ghost is satisfied. So the ghost doesn't wreck the joint.
okay, I want you to roll. Just go ahead and roll a wisdom check.
Okay. And I'm actually going to spend my inspiration. Ooh, that's ugly!
Oh no!
Well, it was a 9. The other roll was a nat 1.
Oh wow. So 9 total.
Yeah.
Okay. You actually do not sense the ghost
Uh-oh.
at all.
Oh god, I lost it.
During all of this activity.
I lost the ghost.
Oops.
You're not sure if it's because the ghost is just gone.
Yeah.
If you just can't quite.
I'm too hyped up on my own tea.
Yeah.
I'm high on my own
Or
supply.
if it's just because of the activity, because
Yeah.
like you said, the tavern has been extremely busy
Right,
and
right.
noisy lately. So it could be any number of those things.
Okay.
Maybe we can leave a note.
Well, I'm gonna keep trying, and I'm gonna try going somewhere quiet, like maybe the cellar, and I'm gonna light some incense and
Okay.
Earnestly try. Instead
Right.
of trying in the middle of everything.
Right. I'm gonna still say you get the same results.
Okay.
But was there any kind of personality that you wanted to bring into this other than your sculpture?
Not at the moment, just because Ekizi doesn't really have a head for that sort of thing. You've seen her room.
You want it open?
Well, honestly, I kind of
yeah.
thought maybe that would be part of it. She sees, what I had in my head,
Yeah.
you don't have to do this, but what I saw in my head is she sees Kara putting these, decorative weapons up, and she's like, I've got cool things that I can hang up, so she puts up pictures of flowers or something.
A hubcap.
Yeah, exactly. You found a
cartwheel.
a broken cartwheel or something. And you're like,
No,
this is
that's
cool.
probably more accurate than everything, and she's just hammering them into the wall.
What do you want?
Right, and you see, Elara comes over and she's like, Ekizi, that sort of thing.
Ugh.
So I imagine you get a lot of eclectic
Mhm.
stuff on the walls. So
She puts a vase on the wall and hangs it upside down. It's broken.
I'm sure a lot of us are going through, we don't know it's you, and we're just like, oh, and we're like,
Ekizi
we're
just
that looks weird there, and we move it over
tilts
4
it back
feet.
and glares at you.
We're just like, it must be the ghost.
all right, and Azerath, any personality you wanted to
7-foot
bring
tall
into this?
Um,
Aesthetics dissed.
I want to commission a painting
Just basically
of
starts looking like a horror's
my deity
That's my room.
with a massive battle under her of paladins versus this evil horde, basically a religious / warrior
Sure.
basically battlefield.
Are you gonna go for just generic paladins, or are they all gonna be dragonborn or something?
They're all gonna be dragonborn.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not.
I like that.
I've never been quite sure how in touch Azerath is with his heritage. I imagine he's pretty.
So he loves his people and who he is and where he comes from. He just does not like to talk about it. Or
Well,
be a part of it
absolutely,
anymore.
but
So-
I that's the feeling that I got. I got the distinct impression that Azerath was one of those who's dragons is he's very, very proud of who he is and where he came from and just everything about him. But no, I fully get that. He doesn't want to talk about it because it's kind of a traumatic experience. So
Yeah, but he's still very in tune with his roots.
fantastic. So no, yeah, you get a really gorgeous painting of Lindy's. Does the rest of the party have any issue with him putting up a painting of a deity? That
No,
people
actually,
worship?
like Kara's like, that's a really good idea. Who do you have do that? I want one for dwarves and dwarven soldiers in Moradin.
He just keeps nodding his
Here's
head.
the card. And I go.
You point him out.
Yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, you get a really sweet painting. So yeah, you get a really cool looking one, and then Kara brings in one kind of inspired by yours. I'm gonna say that because just since yours is still so far the only thing you've done, that it's probably the largest painting, and it is just awesome. It's a really good painting. Kara, you said anything else?
Yeah, no, it's like the way that she wants this painting to be done, because I'm pretty sure Moradin is described in a lot of texts of like how he looks, and he's always like in the forge, and I just want it to be like a scene where he's making like divine armor for all these soldiers, and it's sort of like one of those like long vertical ones where it's like him making all this armor and it's like being handed out to soldiers, and then they're out fighting like a successful victory. It's like one of those long, what are those called?
Like a mural?
Yeah.
All right, very sweet. Elara, anything else you wanted to bring?
What does the door look like?
What does the door look like?
Ooh,
What a question.
He tossed that back at you.
What doesn't the door look like?
Yeah.
It's like a door. What kind of question is that?
I was kind of thinking of the door, like obviously the bottom of it would be wood and everything, but like have a stained glass window almost, and
We're gonna have to replace that so many times.
I know, that's why I'm like,
That's
do
the
I
first thing that
really
I
want
thought
this?
too.
That's why I'm like, do I really want this? But it would be so cool for the opening. I kind of want
It's
it
not up to me to decide.
to like have maybe a representation of each part of us. Like,
I'm Chris.
like Kara would have maybe like an axe or something in the stained glass. For Ekizi, it would be like maybe like horns, but one's shorter. Azerath, what would you want on it?
Did you maybe want to do this in a window for it being like,
Yeah,
so
let's do
elaborate?
that.
Yeah, do it.
That's still gonna break, but
Well, it'll break less likely instead of
Yeah.
someone wearing armor goes
Well,
to
what
open
you-
the door and it shatters.
If I might give a suggestion, on the map it has 3 front windows.
Mhm.
I think it'd be more than reasonable to say that it actually has 4.
Okay.
And each window is like a specialized stained glass depicting like each of your personal like adventures.
That'd be fun.
For this, since you're commissioning this, I want you to spend 15 gold.
15, okay.
And we can have let's go ahead and go around the table. What does each of your guys' window look like? Kara?
It's going to be a revelrous dwarf with a pint, and it looks like they're like cheering, walking like drunkenly, I guess. I mean, that'll help show that it's a bar. If that's there, right? And they're like trailing like a sword behind them, or an axe, or a mace or something. It's just like.
Okay. Elara? What's yours look like?
I think she's gonna do, because you guys have the paintings of yours, I think she's gonna have Saloon's symbol on the window, just because Saloon is the reason why she became the adventurer she is, so it kind of represents her in a way.
The eyes and stars.
Yeah.
Okay. Elara? Ekizi?
Like, I just win.
Go twice.
Yeah.
Do you want me to have more?
And Ekizi gets hit.
That's saving throw for the DM.
Ekizi's is gonna be like the broken horns, and then just small up in the top, and then under it is a fireplace with a warm fire coming out of it, showing that like this is a comfy place to come be.
Alright. And Azerath.
So it's going to be a dragonborn, with like his shield on the ground, just like sitting, shield and sword on the ground, basically just having a
Awesome. Alright, excellent. Very cool, very cool. So, Lara brought hers. Ekizi, any other any other customizations you want
Need
to bring?
something.
I wanted to modify mine.
Oh, okay, go
It's
ahead.
actually like there's stills of a dwarf walking drunkenly, and then at the end it's like they're leaning against like the edge of the window and like they're like vomiting, but you can't see the vomit. It's just like their head is gonna like they're vomiting behind a building.
Like the evolution of man, only.
Yeah, yeah, evolution of like alcohol.
God.
I think that would bring in a lot more people having
Okay.
something hilarious and like less.
Either that or makes them realize they need to get help for their
Yeah.
alcoholism.
All right.
Eventually, Kara's just gonna see that and be like, man, I need some help.
Yeah, you just see her down there just
Staring at it like, wow,
pounds
I
her
am a
fist.
disaster.
Quinn comes over, tries to look at what you're looking,
Yeah,
but
he's
looks
like,
back at you like,
see something
Yeah.
out there? Because the rest of it's like clear, you can see through the window. It's just like that's the.
Okay.
Like, seeing these other displays to their gods, Ekizi is going to...
Alcoholic god.
You got the painting.
Yeah, you got the painting.
Oh,
yeah, we're off of the windows now.
Oh,
Yeah. Ekizi is going to just do, like, a small monument to Meliki,
fine.
because Ekizi's not particularly religious, but still wants to show that, like, hey, this is part of who I am. So it's just going to be a, like, piece of sage in a vase with a shepherd's crook next to it.
All right. And Azerath, any final last ones for you? Alrighty. So, and if you guys want to add stuff as time goes on, I mean, obviously that's fine. Ekizi, that's pretty simple for you to set up. So,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have it. You will have to commission a little bit. I'm gonna say we'll say 5 gold as well.
Okay.
So, but no, you guys are getting this going, and it's looking awesome. Like as the days, it's exhausting work, and fortunately you've got the tea to help. But despite that, you guys are pretty pumped. And through the long nights of just patrolling and not finding anything, because you do not find anything the rest of the few nights, you've got a lot of time to think and come up with more ideas. And so you come in and you're like, oh, let's get this done. So it's looking cool. During this time, you have a lot of the other tenants of Troll Skull Alley coming in and visiting, saying hi, wanting to see what the commotion is, getting really excited. You get a lot of people. You know, and then of course passerbys too, walking in like, oh, what's going on? Oh, this place is opening again finally. Oh, you know, that sort of thing. And we're going to go in. We're going to cut in. It's midday-ish of the last day of your rounds at the City of the Dead. And you guys are kind of working on everything when someone walks into the bar, into the tavern.
Is it one of the skeletons?
We just stop her.
No, you guys are all walking inside, and somebody enters the tavern, the commoner, and Elara. What is it about this person, this human person, that makes Elara's heart skip a beat?
Uh-oh.
What is it about this person that it's almost just, this is the most stunning and just eye-catching person that you've ever met?
His blue eyes.
All right. So, piercing, just gorgeous blue eyes.
Mhm.
Anything else?
His brown hair.
Oh, it's like purple hair.
No.
Okay. So,
No, it's just temporary.
so yeah, the first thing that grabs your attention upon this man entering the tavern are those blue eyes, and he looks at you, and your heart just kind of flutters. It's not a reaction you have ever had in your entire life. Other than brown, anything else about his hair?
I picture it shorter.
Okay.
Like,
Short. Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
And then I picture him like really tall.
Yeah.
Like, not super muscular, but like,
Okay. Fit.
yeah.
Fit. No,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. A handsome gentleman.
Yes.
And he walks in, and he's looking around. He's tavern opening.
It's like elbows like hard. tall guys.
When are you opening?
Kara, when are we opening? She just goes like stupid.
Yeah. And you said, I'd say we'll open like, I guess the weekend. So like a couple of days or
Okay.
something.
Oh, very good, very good. I'm looking for a place to pass some time. I'm staying in town for a few weeks at the inn down the street, and I was really hoping for a good place to eat and relax after a long day. Look forward to this. This looks very good. Very good. I love the stained glass. Those are gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Excellent. And he just kind of looks around and it's like, wow, this is really coming together.
Thank you. I'm not lying when I say she goes super stupid because she is so not used to these feelings that she's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I say? Thank you. You said something.
All right. He smiles at you. You're a woman of few words, I think.
Yeah. And everyone else around her is like, you?
Do you? And there's a lot of people. Like I said, there's a lot of people kind of milling around. So, do you own this place?
I'm part owner.
Oh, part owner. And he kind of gestures to Kara, who's also right there, obviously.
Yeah.
The other half?
Quarter.
Oh, okay. It wasn't a short joke.
She like Carl laughs, like belly laughs. I like it.
Oh man.
Well, excellent. I look forward to meeting you all, and good times ahead. So.
Who sent you?
Kara just puts her knife on the table. Who sent you?
Actually, this is for eating bread. It's fine.
It's a butter knife.
I'm sorry, I'm very threatening and I don't mean to be.
And then she's like, ask what his name is. What's your name?
You're like trying to whisper in the car. He's like, what?
My name is
I'm
Tristan.
Ekizi, Elara. How did you forget that?
She just turns around and looks at you like, shut it.
Azerath,
Yeah, he
like,
actually didn't hear you as he was walking. He's still walking towards the door.
whatever happens, happens.
What's your name?
We all just kind of go quiet. Like,
Yeah, like the whole room just kind of gets quiet a little bit. He turns around. And
she was just like too loud about it.
yeah, there's like hammering and nailing going on, and then all of a sudden it all stops.
She's
And
just
he
like,
just-
ah!
He turns around and kind of notices, my name is Tristan.
That makes you Ysolde.
I'm Elara.
Elara. That's a pretty name.
You can leave now.
I shall. I look forward to seeing you again, Elara. And he turns and leaves.
She's like,
She just basically, because I picture her behind the bar, just basically just like slowly sits down.
Sinks below the bar.
Yeah.
There's no chair there. She just sits on the floor.
She just, and then lays back.
She just sits on Ekizi's tail. Ow. Oh yeah. Ekizi has also had coasters made up.
oh,
That are
I
the bar
thought she
logos.
made
Okay.
coasters.
No.
I was like, how adorable.
They would be bad.
Yeah, but still, she's like, Kara's trying to
No
be nice.
lumpy and just
Yeah, she's like, it works great, and has to hold on to it.
Each one is like a pure cube of cork.
But like, it's like not quite like
Yeah, not level. Not level.
And she's like, yeah.
she sets it down and immediately falls over.
Yeah.
Easy.
Good
All
job.
right. So, the 10th day of patrols, we're, if I'm not mistaken, around on 5th day of Jorn / Istrid living there, and
You wanna watch this? Okay.
Istrid is not helping.
Yeah.
No. Istrid is making it harder. And every day it seems to be getting worse. You guys, the routine is you wake up, you work all afternoon, all day, on getting the tavern ready. You go out into the freezing cold, patrol in the wet conditions. I guess it's not freezing cold, but in chilly weather, wet conditions, all night, boring, walking around all night. Come home, relax for a minute or two, and all you get from her is just complaining. Oh, the roof is starting to leak, or this is, I'm bored. This is terrible. Why is there so much noise downstairs? I'm trying to sleep. And as the days go on, it gets worse and worse. Oh. And by the fifth day, it's not unbearable, but it's like, come on, really?
How long is she supposed to stay here again?
A 10-day.
10 days.
So you're about halfway through.
Oh, God.
Can we get her like a Sudoku book or something?
But yeah, you'll like come in and you'll see like her dirty boots sitting on the floor and just mud draining out the front door and on the hardwood and in the common room you guys have upstairs. Or she'll have just you'll walk into like the den and the table is like, Kara, you walk into the den and the table is filled with empty tankards. None of them are yours.
I know, I checked the bottoms, they have K's on
Oh
them.
no.
She's been using mine! That's it!
Yeah, you go into your bathroom and like your toothbrush has been used recently and not by you.
That was me. There's just grass chunks on it. Grass and cabbage.
It's like cud. I'm like, oh, come on! Still uses it.
So. Alrighty, so I'm just painting the picture. That's kind of what's going on. So, we're gonna cut to that night.
Yeah.
So
They all are.
like I said, I imagine that the first day after, or the first night after your skeletal encounter, you guys were probably pretty alert and ready. The next day, not as much, and then this is the final night. So, how are you guys traveling tonight? Are you still pairing off? Are you staying in a group?
I want Elara to go with Kara.
I'm a wolf.
Okay, so Ekizi and Azerath are going together.
Sure.
And then okay.
Good children's story right there. Dragonborn and the wolf.
So late into the watch, maybe a couple hours before sunrise, the rain has pretty much stopped and the fog has rolled in. But Ekizi and Azerath, I want you both to roll perception checks.
9.
7.
It's like as the rain has dissipated and the fog has rolled in, it is quiet. Like the fog is just absorbing sound. And you guys are kind of walking in relative silence, I imagine, just kind of reflecting and basking in the joy of about ready to open the tavern finally. And we'll say that it's like tomorrow's the big day, or at least it's coming up in a couple days. And you just like that painting got delivered that morning or something, and it looks so good, and oh, you're just so pumped. So I'm gonna say that you guys are just kind of basking in that in quiet, right? When you're kind of walking along, in Ekizi, the hairs on the back of your neck start standing up. Ekizi takes 23 damage.
Oh!
Ow! That was a big ol' hurt.
She just looks around for Elara. She's like, is she hitting me?
What clobbered me?
Huh.
You are not sure.
I don't want it to again.
Azerath, you're walking along with Ekizi, and all of a sudden, you hear this kind of whoosh, and in the blink of an eye, Ekizi is on the ground, and her back is shredded.
Oh.
You see blood everywhere, and a shadowy figure disappears into the fog in front of her, and disappears.
That did almost kill me, by the way. Or drop me to...
I imagined so. Oh, it did roll a nat 20 on me.
Well. Well.
Yeah.
I am going
You're like,
Are
you okay?
He just looks around like, oh my god.
I think my immediate reaction would be to...
Oh, and this shadowy figure looked huge.
Great.
It was bigger than Ekizi.
Oh, that's large.
Oh, Lars would be, blow the whistle, blow the whistle.
Yeah, I'm
So
going
this was
to,
definitely no skeleton.
Eeper.
This was a shadow skeleton.
use
You guys were not
Divine
doing
Sense
shit.
while I am using Lay on Hands on Ekizi.
Alright, so how much, because that's just you choose how much HP to give her, right?
Mhm.
How much are you giving her? Because she looks pretty fucked up.
I have the pain. I have so many pains.
I'll give her 15.
Hooray! I take it gratefully.
You sense nothing.
I'm gonna blow my whistle.
Alrighty. I actually want you and Ekizi to both roll initiative.
4.
13.
Take 12 damage,
Stop!
and then make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, well, I mean, it's good that that's a good one for me, but stop! 12.
You're standing there, kind of like getting up on your feet,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, you see this dark, misty, like ball fly out of the fog and hit you.
Ow.
Your vision just vanishes. You cannot.
Oh,
see.
no.
You were just completely.
Blindness,
You
deafness.
were blinded right now.
Yeah, something blind.
Yeah, Azerath, you see two big foggy black balls flying at Ekizi. One of them hits her right in the chest, and she kind of falls down. The other one misses by inches. It lays her out, and you like when you look down at her, her eyes are wide, but you can see this milky blackness over them. She's very clearly blinded. And
Oh, this is bad.
yeah. And then when you look up from where they came from, you see these two piercing red eyes in the mist.
I'm gonna use my breath weapon.
Already?
Am I in the way?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Delicious.
Okay. So it needs to roll dexterity saving throw, if my memory serves, or
Yeah, dexterity saving roll of 12.
all right, it succeeded.
So 2d6 damage on a failed save, and half as much on a successful one.
All right, so go ahead and roll your damage. 2d6.
5.
So 3.
3.
Alrighty. So Azerath, you open your mouth and your fiery breath lances forth towards the to the red eyes. You see it move, but like in the instant, you kind of see this shape, this dark shape. It kind of looks like a large cat, like a giant predatory cat, but it is huge. And you see like your fire listens off. Kind of like it's it doesn't have fur. More like it's like you can see flashes of like what you can think described as hardened flesh or blood, and then bits of bone, and they're dark. They're like very dark, and it's just in an instant. And the other image you see are just like you can see it's below the red piercing eyes, massive like a jaw with dagger sharp teeth, and you also see like the quick glance of a tail whipping around in the behind it that has a huge like blade on it, and the thing screams out as this fire as it moves to the side, and you see some of the, like steam rising off of its hide just before the darkness envelops it again. And Ekizi, I want you to make
Stop making me do things.
another Constitution
Yeah.
saving throw, please.
19.
You hear this
Ugh.
piercing scream, and fortunately you're able to keep it together despite the circumstances. But this horrendous shriek tears you back into the forest and in that sea of carnage where your entire clan was killed, your family.
Stop that.
And then shortly thereafter, like Azerath, you see these piercing eyes in the darkness hunker down, and you know this thing is about to pass on you. When suddenly you hear a thump, thump, thump from like heavy footsteps running up beside you, and you kind of glance over and you see a lantern held aloft, and Sir Ambrose charges in and kind of holds it up above you guys. I heard the whistle. Is everything okay? And you look back, and there's nothing there.
No, there was a massive thing that attacked us.
He, quickly starts looking around. Ekizi, your vision slowly returns.
Okay.
But your chest is kind of...
Yeah, I feel like garbage.
burning, yeah. So, and pretty soon these two arrive as well as Sir Ambrose is looking around. Kara and Elara, you guys get there. You see Ekizi is bleeding and hurt. Like, you instantly tell. Like, you can instantly tell she's hurt.
I have an ow.
And Azerath is standing there looking pretty freaked out. And Sir Ambrose is also there, like, searching through the foggy darkness, and there's nothing else there.
Yeah, I'm standing just like as a defensive action. If anything's to come out to hurt Ekizi, like, she is standing over her, just like ready to take the hit for her or block it with her shield.
Okay.
Elara casts Cure Wounds on Ekizi.
How much wounds am I cured?
11.
Yay! That doubled my current hit points. I bleed less.
So, pretty soon Sir Ambrose comes back to you like, I do not see any sign of anything.
And this is the scene of the horror movie where the arm comes out through his chest.
Yeah. This thing's just gonna take him off.
Yeah. And he starts to say, are you sure? And then he looks over to Ekizi. Perhaps it is best we call tonight's watch early.
Where did you... What happened? What did you see? Where was it? Where'd it go?
It just attacked us out of
Where in my house?
Yeah, I explain everything to Kara.
Okay, I'm gonna go, like, that way. Is that where you saw it?
Yeah.
And she's gonna go over there and look around.
Alright, that's the direction that Sir Ambrose just came from.
Okay, well,
But that's fine. That's
I'm
fine.
gonna double his.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with her because I don't want anything to happen to her.
Yeah, go ahead and roll perception.
22.
9.
Neither of you find anything.
And I got a 22.
And you do not find anything.
And I had a 22.
I'm gonna help Ekizi walk back.
I can walk, I'm just owied.
Ow.
I carry you.
Yeah,
You're just like draped, like, oh, my back.
Alright.
It's fine.
You guys are able to make it back to the tavern unimpeded. You walk in, and Iskrid is just getting up. He's standing out in the den, and just kind of sitting on the couch, and you can see he's got porridge or something. He's dribbling it all over the couch, just kind of eating. And he looks over to you guys. The hell happened to you?
Don't ask.
We're not entirely certain.
Elara just goes back into the bar, grabs a napkin, shoves it at her.
She kind of looks at it like, what the hell's this for?
And then she starts wiping her. You're not a slob! And walks back upstairs.
She kind of just...
Kara's like,
Jordan sets
I
the
guess
bowl,
I should start using
sets the
a
bowl down on
napkin.
the table and just, okay, and then he walks into his room. Leaving the bowl and the spoon there.
Oh. One step at a time, I guess.
So now that the tavern is we have furniture in there, right? Ah, man, I can't sleep on the floor anymore.
You can sleep in the cellar.
I guess I'm gonna go get a room. It's probably get a room, Kara.
Just somewhere.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go. I guess you said there was the upmost one wasn't claimed.
Yeah. Currently the attic.
Okay, so I'll go sleep in the attic. Guess I'm sleeping in a room now. Went up there to go and sleep.
The ghost is basically thank
moved
God.
all her stuff up there.
We'll say the next day. It's you guys rest. That afternoon you don't have any tasks or anything, so you're able to focus on healing up. You kind of leave getting the preparations up to Clint and the rest of the guilds and stuff this day.
I think by this point they probably
it's pretty much done. We'll say that
know what they're doing.
you're 2 days away from the grand opening. The day before the grand opening, you guys that night you rest, you're able to actually sleep. I imagine you probably have an actual celebratory dinner to yourselves with Clint at that night. How is Kara feeling about Clint? What's the situation there? Pretty.
I'd imagine the only thing they have in common right now is booze.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say that you guys had this kind of a celebratory feast for yourselves, celebrating the impending opening of the tavern. And through the night, Kara, you have your first meaningful conversation with Clint and talking you guys actually this is when you find out that he also knows how to brew and he finds out that you know how to brew, and it's kind of you just start talking, having conversation. And I think he does something that kind of strikes Kara's fancy for the first time.
He fills her glass.
What does he do? What does he do that kind of makes Kara
he doesn't mock. She has she'll talk about how she her first story is how she learned how to brew, and it was basically, I mean, I guess the equivalent of toilet wine, but in the sense that it's they're in the wilderness, they make a shitty distillery as soldiers, and it's
a
keeping it secret from the higher ups, because if they find out, they're gonna have to come down on them. So they're keeping it a secret, but as things go, everyone finds out, and eventually they're listen, all of the lieutenants have to stop this.
Listen,
we don't
know
who
unless
it
you
is.
invite us.
Yeah, we don't know who. So yeah, I mean, it was just she has a story about how it was a shitty little fermenting. What was it called? The moonshining
Distiller?
a moonshining distiller thing that's very, very, very much just cobbled together, and it was her and other lieutenants, and then it was other soldiers, and they're just try this, throw this in there, let's try just something fun to do while they're out in this wilderness situation during war. And she's telling this story, and most people would scoff at that, so you were moonshining while on duty, and he was just oh, that's creative. He's actually positive about all these really kind of backwards fucked up stories she has about oh, one time we and she has a ton of stories, and he's filling her glass, she doesn't even have to ask, and then he talks about his stories are probably more oh, I learned from the family. We he's just
this one time
pushes up his glass.
This one time my cousin accidentally put this into this, and
yeah, and it was just he used wheat instead of hops, and you're just we used some mushrooms we found on a tree. We didn't know what they do.
He's we had to throw out an entire batch because a rat fell into it or something. We had to throw an entire batch out because a dead soldier fell into it. We got some blood in ours.
A goblin fell into it. We were making bets hey, you drink it, I'll pay you.
He's oh, we just threw ours out.
And he would laugh at the jokes, and he's just oh yeah, and yeah, that's how, and so she's starting to all right, he's not a bad guy.
Okay.
She kind of first saw him oh, he's this uppity chemist from a good family, and just actually he's pretty likable.
At some point in time during this this dinner, there's a knock at the tavern door. And Clint opts, he kind of immediately, he's already in, employee mode. He just stands up and goes over to the door, opens it, and he says, yes, can I help? Oh, okay. And he turns around, give me a moment, and then he steps outside and closes the door.
Sketchy.
After a few moments, the door opens again, and he comes back inside, and he's looking a little, not unnerved, but a little rattled. You can tell something kind of got under his skin a little bit. He sits back at the bar, or at the table, and then tries to just jump back into the conversation that we were having.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, where were we?
What was that?
An acquaintance of mine, just looking for money. It's fine.
Oh, I mean, do you need some money?
No.
She's like red cheeked at this point.
I'll work for it.
I
That's
hear
fine.
money.
No, I sent him on his way. He doesn't need any money. No.
They sent him on his way. The scum.
All right.
Alright. I'm gonna drop it. He's just like.
That next morning, you were all awoken to the sound of Vajra in your Safari in your heads again. She says, "This is Vajra. I have a new task for you. A member of Force Grey has been acting strangely of late. His name is Maloon Wardragon, and his happy-go-lucky demeanor has soured. He's been hanging around the yawning portal more than usual. Observe him for a 10-day, then report back to me." And of course, Kara and Azerath, you both know Maloon. He was one of your friends that you'd chosen at the beginning of way back at the beginning of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he was the Force Grey soldier who was at the yawning portal, and you both know him as a pretty stern, just kind of no nonsense kind of character, other than trying to recruit people to Force Grey. But when she refers to him as happy-go-lucky, like, that does not sound right. Like, that's like, who? Wait, what? Happy-go-lucky, huh? So.
And he's acting funny. And
Yeah, she said that his happy-go-lucky demeanor has soured as of late. And you've never seen a happy-go-lucky Maloon.
So he's just acting normal.
To you guys. Yeah, so that's news to you. But, more importantly, today's the day. Today is the grand opening. You guys get down, and who's going to be doing the ribbon cutting ceremony, so to speak?
We all are like,
you get down there.
Alright, you two hold the top one. Okay, I'll hold the bottom one. Okay,
And
let's
we all
hold the bottom.
disembowel ourselves.
Yeah.
Adventure over.
Oh, man. We did bad.
We died
You
the
actually,
stupidest way
like, when you
possible.
get down there, you actually look out the window, or, well, when you get down out from your, from the manor, but you'll know that in order to get to the tavern, you actually have to leave the manor and go outside and around it, and that's how you get in. So you guys do that, and you actually, like, there's probably half a dozen people waiting for you to open. Most of them are residents of Troll Skull Alley. You see Fala there, Tally is there, one of the Genasi, the Fire Genasi, Embrick is there, Rishal is there, and you see a few other people that have, more specifically, people that stopped by to say hi, inquired about the inn. Tristan is not there.
Aww.
As we walk out, like, Kara kind of stops, it looks like she sees the crowd, and goes, "Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick," and then, like, turns around and vomits in the bushes, and is like, "No, I feel better, I just drank something funny."
Yeah, you guys get in. Clint is behind. Clint is behind in the kitchen, already getting the furnaces all fired up and
The deep fat
getting
fryer.
stuff. Yeah, he's getting. You could see him like getting eggs and stuff ready and getting them on a plate, and he's got slabs of meat and bread, and he's ready. He's good to go.
I introduced to Clint my idea of the slider.
Nice.
Never been thought
We're
of.
gonna end up
I
with...
don't really have the necessary ingredients for that, but that's fascinating.
So what you do is you take some ground beef.
Oh, God.
Also known
He
as
eyes
the-
you a little warily. Okay.
Pork works too. You just shred it.
All right.
That's not funny because we don't have a pig person running around.
And then a pig person walked in.
Yeah.
Jorn is upstairs.
Da-da-da.
But chish.
All right. So the doors open. You guys get, like I said, about half a dozen people come in, order breakfast or light drinks, water,
Kara just looks at him like,
juices, and
Alka
stuff.
water.
They're not gonna drink this early in the morning.
which Kara doesn't understand why not.
Yeah, Kara's baffled.
Like
but,
every hour is drink hour. Like, like
It's booze o'clock somewhere.
Like happy hour is every hour.
That's why I'm such a joyful person.
but the
It's
day,
on the ground. Yeah, vomits. Ugh.
So the day goes on. It's for the first day of the tavern being open, and even like normal businesses would see a lot of business, but due to the history of this place and the infamy of this place, the first day that Soldier's Company is open is really busy. You guys don't even have time to think about the mission that you've been assigned.
So imagine like Clint and I are behind the bar. Elara's
they took 100
serving.
patients.
What do you two want to do? Like, I don't even know if we established.
Okay.
Like, are you good at cooking or no?
No.
What about you?
I'm sitting on, like, I guess, bouncer.
Okay, that
status.
would make sense.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Pretty easy job, especially in the morning hours. So Ekizi, you guys had a patron visit that took you off guard and was kind of a pleasant surprise. Who was that?
It was Volo.
Okay, yeah, excellent. That would make sense.
Yeah, he knew that we were opening the pub today, so we wanted to come by and like brag to people that he started us.
Oh yeah, very much.
And we're
so.
like, oh, that Volo.
Yeah. He probably hangs out for several hours,
Mm-hmm.
most of the evening, if not all of the late afternoon and evening, just hanging
Gives
out.
us a promotional copy of his book
Oh,
to
yeah,
put on the
very
bar.
much so. Very
we give
much
him
so.
we give him like a couple of free drinks.
Yeah.
Like he's our friend. He's
Oh yeah, no, he's
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 famous.
living it up. Like there's no way he would have missed out on this. So that's a good call. Azerath.
He brought Foon, and they're like off kissing in the corner.
Is that canon now? Okay. I guess
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Now it is.
All right. So Azerath, you did have someone try to get into the tavern at night that you had to turn away. Who was that? What happened?
So he was basically a homeless beggar looking for trouble.
This isn't an IHOP. Move on.
Yeah.
Sir, you're looking for the public library?
So
sad.
you had to turn him away. Did it come to blows, or was it a simple just get out?
It was as simple, if you don't leave, I'll wreck you
Okay.
kind of thing. Yeah. So he left.
Yeah, he took one look up. He sized you up at first, like he was just like, oh yeah, and then he looked at you. Oh yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
kept
I don't want to fight a dragon.
I'm done with this. All right, Kara.
Yeah.
You have another encounter with Clint. And I would dare say this is the first time there's been like the first romantic encounter of some kind.
Oh god.
What was that like? The first time where like Kara probably doesn't realize it, but looking back on it, she knows like that was the first time that sparks kind of what happened.
And that's how
So-
I met your father.
So they're having to run in and out, like between the kitchen and stuff like that. Like someone's like, I need more peanuts or some shit, and she's like, I'm on it.
I'll go.
So-
I'll go make some more.
So one of the times he's bringing out like food, and she's got like mugs or something, and they're trying to like shimmy past each other, and they almost knock over each other's like platters. I don't know, like whatever they're holding, and so they kind of like help each other. And he like rushes her, and he just like blushes about it. He's oh, I'm sorry, like very gentlemanly. She's like, what do you mean?
I don't understand romance.
Yeah, and she just because like she like caught him, like she got you, and he just like because when he stumbled, he like brushed her, and so yeah, he was like embarrassed about doing that, and she was like, I don't get it. but I saved him. Ish. And so, yeah, it was a small moment. It was like a really weird, clumsy moment, but it was like, it meant a lot to her, where he was like respectful about it and wasn't, he was nice about it. Like most people, if they run into her, they just like, whatever, sorry, or they don't say anything. And he was just like, oh, ma'am, like, my apologies. It's like, huh? And she like took her aback. So yeah, that was.
All right.
Awkward.
So after a certain amount of time has passed, it's getting a little bit late in the evening. When do you guys? I assume you probably set up like a bell for the door or something. You hear Elara, you hear that bell, and you look up, and it's Tristan.
Aww.
And he walks in.
She's all disheveled.
Yeah.
Hair's everywhere.
How does Elara
Kinda
feel
Ekizi.
when she sees him again?
Fluttery, but like not as stupid as she was the last time.
I like to imagine, if you will permit me, that like he walks up to the bar and like Clint is about ready to serve him, and Elara just comes in and just shoves him out of the way, and he's like, "Hi, what can I get you to drink?"
Hi, Elara.
Yeah.
Like she just
We
had that
met a
moment.
few days ago. It's like, yeah, you were the hot one, and I was the.
I was the one.
He smiles like a very genuine, like, I'm happy to see you smile.
Aww.
And he says, Elara, I'm glad you guys finally got this place open. It looks fantastic, and this is great. You were really hopping today.
Thank you. Yeah, business has been crazy today.
So, you and him end up getting into a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You learn that he's in town on business, and he's been here for a few weeks. He's still planning on being here for a few weeks. He doesn't know exactly when he's going to be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys are talking, and eventually he says, he's starting to put a few drinks away. He's getting a little tipsy. I imagine even you have at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally says, you want to know what's crazy? He kind of like laughs. He's like, I just realized when I met you the other day, I had this uncanny feeling that I'd met you before, and I just realized what. Elara, Boulder down.
Throw him up.
Boulder down. My family's. We grew up together.
Her face goes from like.
Yeah, as soon as you hear that, like, all of a sudden you're just ripped back in time and back in your childhood, and you remember suddenly, like, clear as day, you don't know how you misplaced, you remember him. You remember him.
She's like, I don't recognize this fucking
he wasn't necessarily, like, the ringleader of your bullies, but he was definitely one of your bullies.
He was definitely, like, naming out, like,
oh,
names.
Yeah, like, he was there, like, he was definitely not one who was, like, just going with the crowd, but, and
You
just
probably didn't know
off.
his actual name, like you just knew him as like Fucko or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically, like, she called all of her bullies, like, Dick 1, Dick 2,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah, this is like Dick 3, so to speak.
He's still up there in the ranks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he wasn't the ringleader, but you remember, and it hits you like a ton of bricks. And then suddenly you're sucked back in the moment, and he's still got that charming smile, and he's still laughing. He's like, oh my god, do you remember? And he starts naming off anecdotes, and you're just kind of toning him out.
Because I imagine she put a dagger under the bar. I picture her just, like, grabbing the dagger and, like slowly, like, just, like, she's like, I want to stab him. And, like, she mumbles it at first, but she's like, get out.
And he kind of, what?
Get out.
He looks over his shoulder at the door. I'm not done. I thought we were having a conversation.
She grabs the dagger and stabs the counter.
He sobers up quick. Whoa. The tired, like a lot of it goes quiet in the tavern. Just, yeah, all right. He stands up and he kind of he tosses like a few gold coins onto the counter to pay for his drinks, and then like a tip as well. sorry, I'll see you. And he leaves.
Azerath kind of stands in the doorway and puffs his chest out as he walks out.
Elara, trying not
Mama
to
Bear
cry
Azerath.
because she's just having all these flashbacks of being teased, and she's like, I need a moment,
Or Papa Bear.
and has to go upstairs.
Okay.
That'd be Mama Bear.
And she doesn't want anyone to see her cry. Like, she's never been that way because her dad always told her, don't let him see you cry.
Okay.
So she has to go upstairs and just go up there.
Okay. So you get upstairs and you're barely able to contain it, and as soon as you're in the door into the common room, it starts hitting you. And you're just kind of standing there, and then pretty soon you look up, and Jorn is just standing in the doorway looking like,
And Alara's like, if you tell anybody about this, I will stab you. Like, straight face, like...
yeah, alright. he just kind of stands there and just stands there while you walk into the hallway and up the stairs. Oh, okay. So.
I was hoping we went this way.
Alrighty. The next morning, Ekizi, you were awoken by the sound of, and this is starting to get tiresome.
It is.
You were awoken to the sound of tapping on the glass of your window.
Is it one I recognize, or is it a new friend?
It's a new friend. It's a crow. And the
I was hoping it was a raven.
The crow looks over at you and then opens its beak.
Yells,
And
"Nevermore."
you hear the distinct voice of Melanor Fellbranch.
Oh, goddammit.
Doppelgangers threaten the balance of power in Waterdeep. Rumor has it a group of them are hiding in the yawning portal. Root them out and rid the city of them if you can.
Okay, we had business in the yawning... Oh, okay,
It
goodbye.
flies off.
This is a recorded message. You're like, oh.
Yeah, so we're done in the graveyard, right? Or in
Yeah.
the city of the...
Yeah, you're
Could I
officially-
tell him before he
Oh,
leaves?
yeah,
This is a recorded
You cannot reply to this message.
Actually, no. I mean, it's because what it is an animal messenger. So, it's not a two-way thing.
Damn it.
I imagine you would have turned that in the
Okay.
ensuing days. So you got. Oh, I forgot about that.
Did I get something cool?
Yeah. You gain 1 renown in the Emerald Enclave, and then everybody who patrolled for all 10 nights gets 100 gold.
Oh, nice.
Yeah!
I love money.
It's my favorite flavor. Money.
100 gold.
That coppery taste in my mouth.
But I don't know that.
And then,
I just have shiny shit for my room.
and then coincidentally, at the same time, Azerath, you receive a summons from the Order of the Gauntlet.
Court message bird. I'm cracking up about that. They got me.
So you meet up with Savra at the temple, and she informs you that guards at the End Shift Tavern, located on End Shift Street in the Field Ward, are being robbed nightly, and the innkeeper says he's seen giant rats prowling around the back alleys. Sounds dull, but it's a plea for help that we can't ignore.
Anything I need to know?
No, just meet with him or meet with the tavern, find out what's going on. And on your way back, as you were walking through the streets of Waterdeep, you're kind of walking through one of the wards, getting close-ish to back home. When you kind of look up and you see a group of mercenaries across the down the street a ways and across the street, walking. They're all armed. They're all armored. There's at least half a dozen, and you kind of stop. There's around one of them. You see one of them, a rather burly guy, big twisted scar on his face. You see hanging around his neck. It's a golden amulet in the shape of a dragon's hand clutching a ruby.
Oh no.
And that's where I'm going to call it.
I knew it!
I knew it.
So two of them run up and stab you with the short swords. The short sword and the short sword